and our nation.
Next conversation, we're going to talk about the national launch of civil society-led independent forest monitoring platform. So I have in the studio Daniel Kofi, is it Abu, yes. He's a project coordinator. Then we also have Abna Wood. She is the project capacity building expert. And then we also have Obed Owusu-Adai. Obed, what's your post?
I coordinate the Civil Society Independent Forest Monitoring Platform.
Okay, all right. So good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
I hope you're well.
Yeah, very well.
What's this whole civil society group all about?
Recognizing the challenges that we faced in our forest sector, civil society thought that there was a need to sort of take a progressive action towards reducing some of the challenges that we face within the forest sector. So the idea of civil society-led independent forest monitoring came to be. So it's made up of several organizations who have various projects on independent forest monitoring. For our case, ours has been funded by the European Union, which we call the NSA project. Now, what the project seeks to do is, one, to empower non-state actors to be able to influence decisions in FLECT and red blast processes in Western Africa. So in Ghana, we have two partners, Nature and Development Foundation, West Africa, and then Tropicals International.
Okay.
And we have other partners in Ivory Coast and Liberia. So basically, we've come together to be able to take progressive action to address certain challenges within our forest sector. So it's a platform. And I think Obed will talk more about that as a platform coordinator.
Yes, so tell us more about the platform.
So just as Daniel said, for a long time, communities and civil society have attempted to support government in addressing some of the challenges within the forestry sector. One key approach we've taken is to support in identifying infractions and infringements when it comes to forestry sector. And communities have been reporting on illegal logging, illegal mining, and other things to sometimes civil society, sometimes to forest managers. But we haven't had a centralized system for collecting these alerts that come in. So what we've attempted to do as a platform is to build capacity of communities, empower them with mobile devices to be able to gather information on infractions, infringements around the forestry sector, especially from forest fringe communities. They stay close to the forest. Forest managers in Accra and Kumasi cannot always be at the community level, but we realize that when you empower the communities with resources and they are on the ground and they are monitoring what is happening within the forestry sector, it is a very, very effective way of supporting government in protecting the forest. So that is what we have sought to do. Just as Daniel said, there are about 7 organizations currently in Ghana that are members of this platform who have communities and monitors on the ground who are gathering information, and we are collecting the information. We are not just doing it as civil society, but we are working with the Forestry Commission and other interested parties like donor agencies who are funding us to gather this information. So basically, that's the idea of the civil society independent forest monitoring, empowering communities to report on infringements.
In terms of capacity, what do you focus on?
So, like Robert said, building the capacities of the community monitors on specific things or illegalities to report, because you are trying to avoid a situation where any report that comes in is quickly forwarded to the forest authorities to take action. Most times we have had situations where information has been twisted or the right information has not come across. So the capacity we have given to the monitors specifically are what to report on when it comes to, for example, transportation. The laws of Ghana say that timber or logs can be transported between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. So after these times, if you see anything on the road, that is an illegality. That is something that you can report.
Down somewhere, so
well, you are supposed to stop.
No, but they can't broke down somewhere, so at least we just fixed it, so at least we're moving at night.
This is what it says. Can you imagine having a truck full of about 4 big logs moving at around 8 p.m. and most of these trucks don't have
lights, triangles.
They don't have these warning triangles to even indicate it's working down. Some of these things are what come up. So these are the capacities we have given to community monitors. When it comes to SMFEs, in terms of the timber logging companies, yes, we've also built their capacities on what you should know. If your truck breaks down, stop. You should have a triangle, fix it. You are supposed to move between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. You don't move after these times. You are supposed to fulfill your SRA obligations as a social responsibility agreement, which is signed with the communities, which is a 5% out of your stampage fees that goes for community development. You are supposed to fulfill all of these obligations before you even start logging. If you don't go according to these ones, the community has been educated and know what to report on. Then we come to Forestry Commission. This is what we are doing with the people. This is the support that we need from you. If these alerts come up, we need you to help us tackle the issues head on instead of waiting and then doing the business as usual kind of approach. So these are the areas we are looking at and the capacities we have.
And the community will understand these things you're talking about.
They do. So in fact, like Obed said, initially the alerts used to come one-on-one, and they used to have a system where, say, if I'm a monitor, those days they weren't even called monitors, they were called like informants. So that was a very informal way of addressing the system. So I see someone go into the forest to cut endangered species like crocodile, then I go and tell the TU, Obed, like this is what happened. Then Obed is now going to tell
the manager
in say Jabuso or Seshuyo, so like this is what is happening. And before it gets there, I mean the person who committed the infraction is long gone.
Okay.
Yes, so this is what we are seeking to do, real-time monitoring as and when it happens. So far as we get the information, we move on it.
Right. And how are they to know, Daniel, that okay, this kind of logging has been authorized? So like she mentioned earlier, that sometimes the information given might not be accurate. Again, the community, how are they supposed to know that this kind of logging is authorized? So allow them to engage in things like that.
So what we have done is to develop what we call a legality grid.
Okay.
So in the grid, there are 7 thematic issues. I think we've expanded it over the course of the period. And these 7 thematic issues spelled out into details what you should look out for in terms of certain infractions. If there are infractions related to SRs, what issues should you identify within SRs? If there are infractions related to illegal logging, like transportation, which I've not talked about, and there are some infractions that don't even need any sort of legality definition, like bushfires. And when you see bushfire in the forest, you should just automatically report that for control measures to be kept. So in the past 1 year, we've achieved some significant outcomes from some of these initiatives. We are not just interested in community reporting infractions, as Obed said. For instance, there are some communities that have received SREs for the first time through our initiatives. And sometimes when they bring some of these queries, we do a follow-up. We have a whole follow-up mechanisms. It's divided into 3 tiers from communities. When the community monitor sends an alert, it goes through an intermediary. It comes through the relay form that is transmitted on the just real time on the web platform. Now there is an intermediary CSO, which we call a CBO, who will go and do a first-time verification of the alert to ascertain whether indeed the alert is a true alert. Now when it is ascertained to be a true alert, he advises on the way forward. Then it comes to the national platform members, to which we all belongs to. Then we can take a control measure. It could be quarterly, it could be immediate, depending upon the intensity of the alert. So this has been the approach. And for the past 1 year, we are reaping some significant outcomes with this very platform.
So you're launching this whole thing when?
Today.
Where?
Tomrick Hotel at 9 a.m.
Where? Tomrick Hotel. East Legon. Okay, at 9 a.m.
Yes.
From 9 to what time?
1:30.
Okay, so what should we expect today at the launch?
So basically today, just as we've been saying, we are now going to outdoor it to everybody, but we've already been engaging with the Forestry Commission. So today there will be the Forestry Commission will be there with us, with somebody from the ministry. I think the technical director will also be there to officially launch the platform. And we will roll it out to other areas. Currently, we are in about 5 regions. 5 regions, about almost 30 districts. And we are hoping that when we have launched it, other partners will get on board and we will expand it to other areas. So that is the whole idea. Launch it, let people know that this platform exists, and then bring on board several other people to make it national program.
Okay, so you will be speaking at the launch?
Yes.
You will be speaking?
Yes.
Okay, all right. At Tomrick Hotel, 9 this morning.
Yes.
All right. I want to find out from you. I mean, this situation about our forests. How bad is the situation, or how good is the situation?
I'm always a bit reserved, not to paint a very bad picture of it, but it's indeed bad.
Okay.
I mean,
this is not being reserved, I think.
I mean, when you look at various publications and even on the ground, I mean, we do a lot of ground monitoring. When you go to the ground and you see the magnitude of destruction that is going on, I mean, chances are that we may be losing certain significant forest reserve. I can tell you, Krokusua hits. I'm not being very reserved with this. It's very significant, and many of these things comes with various factors. Some of them are cocoa-led, others are mining, and this is why we feel that, look, we need to wake up. And when you look at the World Resource Institute publication recently, Ghana is almost 60%. We've lost 60% of our forests just in the past decade. And for me, this is scary. I'm frightened that if we don't take time, it will come to a time that we need to import timber. Really? I mean, there have been rumors that we've even started importing, but I mean, for now, we cannot concretely admit to that fact. But I think that we should wake up. As a people, we should wake up. I mean, rosewood. I mean, it's the whole thing is about rosewood now. It's bad. I was hoping I don't get there.
I mean, with these unfortunate things happening in our forest, and you people are working with those in the communities, but there are also other allegations that these people in the communities are also part of these unfortunate incidents happening in our forest. Our chiefs, opinion leaders, the leaders within the community. So how do you bridge that gap? The same people you are working with are sometimes the same people involved in some of these things, are sometimes the same people who allow some of these unfortunate things to happen in the forest. How do you create that bridge?
I think this is one of our most challenging issues, because especially in my capacity as the capacity building expert on this, I've had this challenge too many times. I mean, there have been situations where some chiefs who are rumored to be in bed with illegal loggers and all that have issued commands to their people not to attend our programs, because then we are going to go there. We are going to tell them what is right, what is not right, what you should hold your chief, because the fact that you are a chief does not mean you are not accountable to your people.
Exactly.
So these are some of the things that we are bringing. So these have been very, very challenging issues for us.
They don't fight you?
Yes, you've had a few of that. Yes, you've had a few of that.
Maybe it's about time we took a collective approach to solving some of these problems. I'm a forester. I've been a TOB. I've been on the ground before, and the challenge then has always been that the forest belonged to the state.
Yes.
And communities were seen as people who were rather infringing on the forest. But even within the forestry laws, communities are allowed access to the forest, or what we call the non-timber forest product. So it has been the approach to forest management in the past that has probably necessitated or brought about some of these challenges. If we had seen that forest needs to be managed collectively, communities, traditional authorities, politicians, everybody involved, and we're all playing our role, probably the situation would have been different. But because we treated the forest as a national commodity, communities were considered as the more or less the bad people, and they found an escape in conniving with illegal operators and in getting something from the forest. So that has been the approach then. But currently, with a lot of initiatives that are happening, the Red Plus process, the BPA, and all those forest area interventions, there is now a renewed strategy that is taking place now. The Forestry Commission has realized that they need a community, because, for example, when you go to, you mentioned Krokos here, I know that place very well because I work there. When you go to Jabuso, you have limited forest guards, you have several forest reserves. The forest guards cannot always be at the forest gate, but the communities are always there. If you want people to really help you in protecting the forest, it is the communities. So it's about time we brought on board someone. And the traditional authority, just as you mentioned, they have a significant role to play. They are the custodians of the land, and more or less the land owners. But most of them are also involved in some of these illegalities.
So let me add up to what Obed said. I think one of the successes of this project is being able to bring these stakeholders together on several platforms to talk about these things and bring to light why, as a traditional leader, as a community member, as an SMFE, as a forest officer, as anybody in state authority or non-state authority, why you have to come on board so we all protect the forest. And I think under this project we've had about 4 of such platform meetings. We've actually had town hall meetings where we've invited just about everybody, including traditional authorities. We have had what I always say, a lot of jojo about what should be done, what should not be done, why we need you on board, why you need to protect the forest, because it is yours.
Yes.
The forest belongs to you.
I agree. I agree. But so the launch is today. It's at 9, Turmeric Hotel, East Legon. All right. So after that, what happens? Just 1 minute, then we can wrap up. After the launch, what happens?
We believe that it is the right platform. After the launch, we are calling on all the public stakeholders to come on board. Our forest is fast degrading.
I know, right?
And we feel that it is time.
Okay, all right. We'll leave it here for now. I mean, there are other areas we can cover, but for now we'll leave it here and see what happens after the launch.
Sure.
Then we can talk more. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for now. We'll be back with our newspaper review segment. We'll be right back.